So we're here. What should we do? क्या करेंगे? As the young one, how do you want this to go? Huh? How don't you want this to go? Yeah. What would be the worst case scenario? You get stuck for 3 hours in some boring discourse. That would be bad. Huh? You've been to satsang before of any sort, or yeah, so you're used to it. What is the attention span? How many minutes? How to make it interesting for them? Everything I'm going to say, actually, if you read it literally, it's quite absurd. Yeah? It's quite absurd, especially in the realm of human understanding and what we take this life to be. What is shared in satsang, and every satsang, every true satsang, is very strange. But because we compartmentalize in our head like a spiritual compartment of spiritual understanding, we keep it over there and we're not actually able to meet it because we think our job is to understand what is being said. That's what we think, isn't it? We have to come here and you have to meet someone who hopefully has something valuable to share, and you try to understand something out of that. But really, satsang is about that. It is to come to the company of the truth. So my job, if it is His will, the attempt of these words coming from the heart is going to be to bring you to an alive presence of God. Bring you to an alive presence of God, which is actually a living reality, but has been forgotten or hidden, obscured in the human play of Maya. Lost me already? No. You're allowed to speak, Don't be intimidated. So what am I saying? It is not about what you will understand, what you will gather from here, because I can give you a book. We have a thick book. You can read that. It has most of everything. But really, satsang will become satsang if we come to the satkasang, if we don't come to the company of the truth, then it's going to be just more words. And there's nobody in the world who needs more words. There's enough words everywhere. So many platforms, you can just Google anything you want, YouTube, anything you want. Words are available. But in the availability of those words, or in the plethora of words everywhere, now that everyone has a sandbox, what is happening is that intuitive understanding, insight is more and more obscure. Because I cannot tell you what will get you there. That is going to be His grace. But I can tell you that is not going to do it. In fact, we must empty ourselves. We must empty ourselves from me. Okay, I promise to make it interesting. It's not sounding so interesting to me. So how do I do that? Suppose there was one chair. So one chair, that was the main chair in our life, and everything revolved around that. See? Now on that chair, only one could sit. Now there's two main options of who can sit on that chair. We can make the me, the ego, sit on that chair, make that the central protagonist of our story, of our life. It's all about me. You see? Even when we come to satsang, the main question is, what's in it for me? You see? When I was younger, my parents wanted to take me to satsang, a different type of satsang, and I never went. I hardly ever went. Very, very few times. Only when the main Guruji would come, I would go. Because the question always was, what's in it for me? Why should I go? Now this me is actually just a made up story. It has no actuality. The reality is Him. So when this first one sits on the chair, then the vision of the true one seems to get obscured. The famous example of a speck of dust blocking our true vision. So when we are egoic, then to live in His light, to live in Atma Gyan, Atma Darshan is far off. When we are simple, when we are innocent, then it is a possibility. Not only is it a possibility, it is a probability. It is highly probable. So, but what has happened in the world is that we are told that to come to this, the light of God's presence within ourselves, is for the very rare ones. We cannot find it. We are not worthy. There's only 1 in a million Mahayogi, Mahasadhaka, who is going to come to that. You see? But that is not true. Because if it can happen to a fool like me, then it can happen to anyone. So if His grace can bless probably the worst spiritual sadhaka in the world, then His grace can definitely bless all of you. But it must be, if not all that you want, but it must be the most important thing that you want. So even our spirituality, which has been mostly about me so far, the me, has to become about God. How is it about me? Can we notice? Yeah. We feel like, but we're talking about God. It's about God. We are praying to God. You see? But what is the intention? Freedom for me, enlightenment for me, peace for me, wish fulfillment for me. And the more that we get, what happens? The sense of me, the idea of me gets more and more elevated rather than reduced. So if it is true what Kabirji said, that the lane is too narrow, if there is me, there cannot be God. If there is God, there cannot be me. Then we must return to a sheer innocence of a newborn child. So God is real is the main thing. He's a reality, not just a conceptual idea that it's not a feel-good notion. God is a reality. His presence is the Atma within. And it can be found. In fact, it must be found. That is when spirituality becomes about spirit, about spirituality. Atma is the spirit of God. How to do it is to empty ourselves of egotism, of specialness, of me, of pride. Yes? Good so far? Still awake. That's good. That's good. Yeah. That's much more than my kids ever get to. So God is real, He is here, His presence is the Atma, it is a living being which must be found. I will go so far as to say that without the finding of the Atma within, we have not lived. That is life. To live in God's light is life. And all of what I'm saying is not for a few special rare ones, but it is universal. But you cannot fill up the chair with me, and expect God to sit there. For God, at least we can do that much, isn't it? We say, come, and then we say, me, but what about me? What about me? What about me? God will say, okay, I'll wait till the chair is empty. You seem to be a bit busy right now. So, the question should be then, how do I remain empty for God? How do I keep the narrow lane free for Him? How do I make the chair available for Him? What is the one, who is the one who invites you to sit on the chair, the me to sit on that chair? That means makes the narrative, the story about me. Who is that one? It's the mind. Because the mind is limited in nature. Its mutterings or proposals or thoughts have central to them the idea of a person, you see, which is a sheer strangeness. Because we may think that that idea is about this body. But if you really took yourself to be this body, why would you come to satsang driving 5 hours that too? Nothing for the body here. Ground sitting, probably uncomfortable. If you really took yourself to be the body, you would not be upset about what someone told you. How does it affect the body? Either our partner or sibling or manager at work or anyone. The body remains unaffected. You can say anything you want. Who is the one that gets hurt? Who is the one that has a bank account and money in the bank and wants that to grow? Who is the one that even wants God? Where is this one? So we have two options. We can spend our entire life catering to this me that we can't even find. The mind will quickly say, this me, this. This is a bunch of food, no? And in some sense we all have that we are not a bunch of food. That much I feel is clear to everyone. The notion itself is quite strange. No? I'm more than just the food I ate. So either we can leave it uninvestigated and say, oh, but everybody believes in this. 7 billion of us believe that they are this person. I will just go with that. But there was a time in the world where a lot of silly notions were taken to be true. Just because an idea is popular doesn't make it true. So the second absurd thing I'm going to say is that there is no such me or person. But I don't want you to just take my word for it, because then it will become another belief. I don't want you to believe in what I'm saying. What is the second option? Come on, okay, now I need to change that. Huh? Experience it or have a direct insight about it. So, if you look for the person, where can it be found? Show me the one that wants to understand the meaning of life. Where is it? The one that wants to acquire more and more. Security, comfort, whatever we call it. Where is it? So, You may then say, but where is the God that you are speaking of? You should challenge me like that, no? I am saying that the me is not there. Show me where it is. Look here, there, everywhere, inside, outside. There is no such me. Then you should say that, but you talked about God and His presence, Atma. I can't see that also. You see? So what do I take to be true? Hmm? You're going too fast? Yeah, well, I'm just seeding the main things. And then each point can be a full satsang on its own, of course. But these are the main, these are the highlights. So now we are stuck between two unperceivables. We can't perceive the person and we can't perceive God. So then some may say that then for God you must have faith. But what they mean by faith is you must just blindly believe. You don't understand all of that. And this is the stuff that used to irritate me as a child. I didn't want to just blindly believe. But it is true that you need faith. And if I don't answer that question, I'll remind me and I will explain that. So, me cannot be found, God cannot be found. Now, it seems like just a question of belief. What do I believe in? So many will say, I am an atheist, I don't believe in God. Or I am religious, I am spiritual, I believe in God. You see? And these are the common positions that we take in the world. But what if reality was different? What if God could be found and you could recognize Him? Would that be good or not? It will break this conundrum of a choice about what to believe. You see? Okay. So, see if you can pay attention to this part. You see? Pay attention to this part. Because now it starts to get a little bit subtle. So, now what we are saying is that God is not a question of belief, but the ego is, the me is. You see? So, it is more absurd to believe the ego than to find God or to recognize God, which again sounds strange. I am going to show you the way that you can come to God, to find Him. But before I can tell you how, I have to tell you how not to. So, some of you studied Vedanta, most of you have. Now you're being humble and modest. What is the first rule of Vedanta? All that you perceive comes and goes, and that which comes and goes is not real. So, how not to find God? Because God, we are showing you the reality of God, or we are coming to the reality of God. Cannot be through perception. So perception is out, and that sounds like big trouble. If perception is out, then what do I have? But there are many things that we still take to be true that we don't perceive, which is this earth moving or is it stationary? If somebody was to say that all of us are moving at rapid speeds right now, you know, I can see everybody is perfectly still. But those who buy into science, maybe and I do as well when it comes to this physical realm, will say that, yeah, this is not stationary. In fact, they will also tell you that that which we take to be these bodies are mostly space, more than 99% space. Anyway, so the point I'm making is that beyond just perception, we also believe or take to be true that which comes from a credible authority, and we believe just conceptually. You see? So that is the second one. But this also is not the way to God. So you cannot perceive and find him, because that would just make him an object. You see, everything that you perceive is just objective in a phenomenal world, and you cannot just construct a thinking and say, oh, I found God because I know the words Aham Brahman Asmi. And that is it. That is God. No, that has to be an utterance after the recognition of God. So how not to do it? You can't do it through perception, and you can't do it through conceptualization or thinking. Meaning making, sense making, all that is out to find God. Now really the question which probably very few have really considered is that, is there another way to recognize or come to knowledge which is beyond thinking and perception? Is there another way? You see? So this is the power of Maya, where the main source of knowledge, the main source of intelligence has been kept aside, and this ability to perceive and the ability to think has become primary. You see? And that's why God seems to be hidden and the world seems to be so apparent. With me so far? How not to do it? Can't think about it and can't try to find him through as a sense object, as some sort of object. Then what else do we have? Is this going to be one of those deals where we have promised something big and then told it's impossible? बोल तो दिया कि I'll help you find God, but now we've hit a dead end. Is it like that? Or is there some other way? Besides perception and thinking, is there a way to know things? And what we're talking about is something which is not a thing. So this is very important, because even most in spirituality are trying to come to an experience of God, but they're looking for an experience of God again in a perceptual or objective way, like we used to read in Amar Chitra Katha or something like that. Not that there's something wrong with that kind of darshan, but I'm talking about another variety of meeting. Because I'm being a little Vedant to say, but if it is perceived and it came, then it will go. And everything that comes and goes is not ultimately real. So not only am I saying that for the pursuit of God, we must let go of our thinking and of our giving value to perception or giving them the primary place in our life. I'm also saying that I'm introducing you to a new place where you must make it your home. You must live there. Don't just dip in, but live in the place which I'm going to try and show you. Okay. So through what instrument do we recognize love? You may say love is a feeling. It's a feeling. So when the feeling comes, I recognize that I love this one. You see? But those of us who are parents have an advantage because we are not always feeling love for our children. Sometimes we're feeling anger, we're feeling frustration. We are talking about this with another one. Why are they not studying? Why are they out so late at night? What is happening? You see, so all this kind of frustration may be there. But we say, you go and ask that parent, do you love that? Do you love your child? Of course I do. But you're not feeling any love, you're feeling anger at the moment. So where do you recognize this unconditional commitment? You only have to be parent and child. I hope God blessed us with an opportunity to have unconditional love, at least that which we can recognize for all of us in some way. So you may not perceive the feeling, and you may not just think, oh, I love my children. Where is it known? Can you find it now? So for those who are new to this kind of spirituality, love is a beautiful bridge. It's a beautiful bridge because it is not alien for anyone. A contemplation about whether me is real or not may be alien. That God in His presence is a living being who lives within yourself may seem too far out. But love is not alien to anyone. So where do you recognize this love? The heart. But the heart that we are going to speak of is the spiritual core, not the emotional heart. Because a lot of people in the world say, I am not head, I am all heart. You see? But that's not the heart I'm talking about. What they mean is I just follow my emotions wherever they take me. I don't care about any rationality. That's not at all what I'm saying. I'm pointing you to that which is the Sadguru presence, the Holy Spirit, the Atma within. And to recognize it, you have to, one of the ways to do it is to recognize where do you know unconditional love. Is it just a thought? Just unconditional love is just a notion, a belief? Isn't it? Is it necessarily a feeling that you're perceiving at the moment? No. It could be anger, frustration, irritation. We may feel that love for our master. We may feel that love for God without knowing how did it get here. Does that mean there are times where we don't get irritated with our master or with God? We get. You see, the feeling may be irritation or frustration. But in your heart, you know. So this is the instrument And actually, it's much greater than, we shouldn't really call it an instrument, but this is a mode of knowledge which Maya has made invisible to us, obscure and abstract to us. And sensory knowledge and conceptual knowledge seems much more tangible. Whereas in reality, it is the other way around. All that is valuable is known here. So in spirituality, it is often said, but rarely met, where it is said that spirituality is moving from head to heart. I say, what is this? It sounds so lame, no? It's just like a Archie's card or something like that. It moves from head to heart. But actually, it is one of the most important things. Often I tell you that if Krishna came and sat in front of you, in front of us, suppose he came and sat on the couch over there, then all of us would say, ah, yes, he is real. Oh, thank you, God, you came. Now, can I talk to you? Can I ask you things? Can I just sit with you all the time? Please promise me that you will never leave. Isn't it? And it doesn't, I mean, whatever expression of God that you resonate with, Ram, Krishna, Jesus, whatever word you want to use. So, but what does that convey? It still conveys that we give more value to that which is perceived on the outside than what can be found unperceivably on the inside. So going from head to heart is actually that journey. And the highest intuitive insight we can have is about the nature of the absolute reality, which in Vedanta we may call the self, the capital S self. So how many of us firstly would be willing to really give more value to what you're finding inwardly, in your intuitive insight, in the light of the Sadguru presence within, than what your senses are showing you, or what your mind is telling you, or what you think you understood even in spirituality. Those can become empty for God. Can't you do a bit of both? थोड़ा यहाँ पे, थोड़ा यहाँ पे. We juggle, no? A bit of both will happen when you commit to doing only one. Huh? You see, that is the nature of the human condition. A bit of both are going to happen when you commit to being only in God's light, in God's presence. That you commit to making your life about Atma Darshan, Atma Gyan. Then things will cause drama in our life, cause something in our life that will pull us back, keep pulling us back, and we may play this game of back and forth. Once you make the commitment of letting go of the false and coming to the truth, letting go of avidya, of ignorance, and coming to the light, you see, then a bit of both will happen. But if you want to do a bit of both, then This is not going to happen. Is it? And I would plead with you and beg you and implore you to really consider what you're making your life about, or who you're making your life about. Because I promise you that God is a living reality, He's a living being. And the other thing to be careful about is that you won't say yes, but. Huh? I mean, you won't say no, but you usually say yes, but. And the but is usually followed with tomorrow. And unfortunately, everyone around you will also tell you tomorrow. There's time for this. So although everybody is taught Kal kare so aaj kare so ab, everybody is actually living aaj kare to kal kare to parson. What's the rush? Abhi jeena hai barson. That's the philosophy of the world. No? Parents will tell their children, don't get into all this now, you'll spoil your life. When you're retired, you'll have enough time. First do your, what did Krishna say in the Gita? We know only one verse of the Gita. And that is also a great misunderstanding of what we think we know about it. Okay? But it is the most often quoted verse. You must do your responsibilities, even Krishna had said, do your karma. We will come to that. That's a full satsang also. So, but I promise you that this Mahabharata, this battle, is about time. Every day will go like this. Tomorrow, tomorrow. Today I have something important. Yes, because we don't know if there's a tomorrow. We don't even know whether this is a dream or a waking. What if this is just a dream you're having which is going to get over in 10 minutes? You see? But you have the opportunity to wake out of that dream into a reality of the highest. Do we know that this is not true? Is there a guarantee that we'll wake up tomorrow? And what is the alternative? Why should we postpone it? Should we keep living like zombies without having met life till the last minute of our life? Okay, now I'm available fully for God. So, okay, a weird example, but this is what's coming. So, suppose you met a zombie and you had the antidote. Huh? But zombie would say, what's the rush? I'm fine. You've seen that meme, no? Of that character, everything around him is burning. But he is working on the computer or something. I'm fine, it's fine, it's fine. You see, it's fine. No? So, either it is true what I'm saying that life without God's light is not, we haven't started living yet, or this is like a zombie life. You see? Or I'm exaggerating or just pushing a point or something like that. Huh? What do you feel it is? Huh? Sorry, but what do you feel it is? Before we look at the rest. Am I exaggerating about this? Am I just, do I like scaring all of you, you see, and saying, no, no, your life is not truly a life. You see, if you take yourself to be just this bucket of meat and keep living like this, you must come to a true life. I'm literally saying that the difference is between zombie and living. Do you feel like I'm exaggerating? Maybe your mind says, but that's too much. But if there was a more stark example, tell me and I will use that. Where is the key? Okay, so let's go first to Mira. Yes. 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 It has a quality, but it is after the strangeness of the nature of being. Now it will come to in terms of its, but you've heard this before, in terms of its phenomenal and non-phenomenal nature. I would say that the possibly the subtlest knowledge that we can have is the knowledge of love. Yeah. Yeah. But I'm saying, and it's good that it brings you to the being, because to come to the source is the most important. But for those who feel that being is too far-fetched, like how can I come to my Atma? I haven't even meditated. But at least even they will be able to confirm the presence of love. It's tough. It's tough to say more on love. Yes. Yes. Can you find it or no? Yes. Yes. But is it just a conceptual knowing? Oh, I'm a parent, so I must love my kids and therefore. Is it? No. It is not a conceptual knowing, it's an intuitive knowing. Yeah. Frustrated or irritated. What is father saying? Huh? Exactly what I'm saying. Exactly what I'm saying. Exactly. So, independent of the feeling which may be perceived at the moment, independent of the feeling which may be perceived at the moment, there's a deeper knowing of love.
So what we're tasting is very less compared to what it would be.
What is translated in the phenomenal realm is the byproduct is also sweet to taste. You see, but to meet the source itself is much more sublime in that way.
Like when you said that after the being, it's the most subtlest.
Recognition, because it's a non-feeling feeling. Just like being is a non-phenomenal and yet phenomenal being. Anyway, let's not scare everyone too much. Because actually, although I myself said that it's really not a feeling, but it's like a beyond feeling. Can we really take the feelingness away from it completely? We can't. It's not a sheer intelligence.
You know that day, sorry.
Okay. So why I said also it is difficult is because heart knowledge, what we know in the heart, to find the right words to express it is not straightforward, and the heart itself has to provide the expression.
But wouldn't love more be like a knowing than feeling?
I can't say in these realms, all these constructs start to fall apart because sometimes we may say like that, sometimes we say like this.
You know, that day you said God has so many names. You were telling Advaita or someone that not just love, but He's justice, and like we used to do in Zikr. He has so like all
So
99.
let's look at that as a good example also, right? So even a little child, 5 years old, when they lie, suppose they weren't even taught about it, they recognize that something is wrong, that they've done something wrong or something is wrong. Where is that intelligence from? That so-called moral compass which all of us have. We all recognize somewhere that violence is not good, to take from others is not good, that to be empty of kindness and compassion is not good. Where does that come from? And how is it universal? If it were just a product of teaching, then every culture teaches differently, but there are some things which are common across all cultures which are recognized to be good. Even in tribes where so-called, although it may be the reverse, so-called civilization is not reached.
Father, these are not like active like active qualities.
Yeah.
These are more passive qualities which come actively into. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
I feel like what you're saying is that, like the
Phenomenon.
knowing of morality, for example,
Yeah.
what is right and what is wrong, is not necessarily only conditioned learning. In fact, the primary part of it is what we know because of God's presence. That is why it's absurd actually to deny His presence, because otherwise, who teaches all humans this? To be good, to tell the truth, to not take from others, to not be unkind and empty of compassion. Where does it come from? If there is not a universal intelligence which has this commonality, is it just a set of rules that some committee decided and said, when the first humans gathered and said, "Chalo, committee meeting mein karte hain. What should we be? We should be kind. We should not lie." And then we just disperse it like that? It's not like that. You see? So that's why I was saying that all that is of true and of value can only be known here. Like goodness. Why is truth better than lies? Why is truth better than lies? Who has made it that way?
This is just our nature, no?
Huh?
It's
Yeah,
just
but what is that nature?
it's how it's
It,
the qualities of our presence.
yeah, that is the nature of our being in a way. So, and that's why I always prod this word, because when I was an atheist, so then I would say, okay, what is the intelligence which makes the plants grow? What is the intelligence which makes the birds fly? All of that I would say nature. But what is nature? There's no such thing as nature. It's just a word. We're talking about some universal intelligence. So because we don't like God, so we like to say, okay, that's nature doing it. Well, what do we mean by nature? You may be actually, what I am calling God, you may be calling nature. But we must be careful of just these catch-all words, which then give the illusion of understanding. There is no God, there is nature. Nature is doing all of this. Then we stop our exploration, we stop our contemplation, because we just say, I know it's nature. See, but what do you know about nature? What is this nature? Where is it? How does it operate? So nature decided the speed of light. You see, the gravitational quotient, magnetism, and how it works. All of these things nature decided. How did it decide? Is there a committee called nature? How did it decide the speed of light is going to be constant this much? Who is this nature? You see? So nature is just a nice replacement for God for atheists. Because it is undeniable the intelligence in the operation of even this perceivable realm. So this intelligence comes from where? It is the light. We say it is the light that lights up this world, and we notice it. Bhagwan Sri Ramana Maharishi had said, in whose light do you see the light of the sun? In the light of your being, in the light of the Atma. Perception flows from being, attention flows from being. And all these discoveries we don't make because we are living in our head. And the worst thing we can probably do, and the slimiest trick of the mind possibly, is to allow you to think that you're living in the heart, but you're just thinking that. That's an ambush if I ever saw one. To make even living in the heart, to live in the Sadguru presence, in the light of the Holy Spirit, to make that a product of our thinking or understanding, is a big trick. Okay, so what have we explored now? We've explored that there's another mode of knowledge which most humans really don't access, at least in this way. But there, the presence of God can be found beyond perception, beyond thinking. This is the light of the Sadguru. What is the meaning of Guru? Bringer of light. The bringer of light is Guru. But light, there's enough in the world. What is this light? What light does he bring? He said, from darkness to light, from ignorance to truth, the Guru's light takes us. So this is the intuitive light, the light in which you can recognize that which is unperceivable. In every other light, you recognize what is perceivable, but there is a special kind of light in which you recognize that which is unperceivable. He is here. His presence is here. And don't make yourself a visitor here. Live here. Build your home here. In your heart. In the true heart. Come what may, don't leave. And if you determine that, then it'll be half and half, or bit and bit. A bit of this and a bit of that. Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. Exactly. This is the place of wisdom, of true guidance, of peace, of joy, of love, of rest, of insight. And Maya's main job is to hide this, the treasure within. One of the most popular stories in spirituality is what? That diamond was already in your pocket. Huh? Or you're sitting on the treasure chest begging for morsels of food. What is that diamond? What is the treasure chest? God's presence. How can it be found? By living in your heart. Is the heart a physical place that I'm talking about? It may seem like it. I also keep pointing like this. But no, it is the spiritual core, the core of intuitive insight, the core of the Atma within. In the sense that the word, the way we use it, determines that it is the spiritual core, or the spirit is everywhere. But when we say heart, you see, stay in your heart. Although God is everywhere, presence is everywhere, and yet there's a core that we can find. So Bhagwan Sri Ramana Maharishi was asked this question. He said, many say that presence, God is everywhere. So what is the meaning of when you say heart? You see? He said, when it hits them, they will know. First we go to her, then we go to her.
I don't know exactly in words. I don't know exactly in words to what I was pointing like yesterday. These situations. It's basically choose God again and again. But the experience in this again and again and again and over and over. It's a moment of God and a moment of hell. And again and again. So at one point, when you're tired, it is not the surrender of, it is a surrender of eating, basically, because you just can't. So what then?
Yes.
This is again and again.
Yes. I want to ask you one main thing. What is the offshoot and what is the main thing? Is your inside the main thing and the world a tiny offshoot? Or is the world the main thing and your inside a tiny offshoot?
Inside
is the main thing. And the perception of the world are just...
And when it's like that, it's like that.
Yes. Yes. So don't leave that.
Exactly. But exactly when...
Yes.
What I found...
And when you determine not to leave that, then Maya will still grab you because it is powerful.
It's so powerful.
You cannot deny its power. You see, because you say, okay, now, so many have said, no, thank you, Father. We know how to be now, how to live now. And next moment they get home, their partner says something, dishum, 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 all gone. It's just like, how should I live my life? What's happening? I don't know if I'll ever be free, all that. You see? And then you remember again, maybe some pointer comes from Satsang or something pulls you back in your life. But if you said, for example, the other way where you said, okay, now I figured it, one foot here, one foot there, both are equal. I will juggle this yin and yang. I will make this Ardnarishwar, a living thing. I will juggle them. Okay? Then what happens? Then the outside becomes predominant without the deep inner commitment, deep inner intention to remain in God's light, come what may. You see, when we have that, then Maya still can pull us in. But if we don't have that, then we may visit this place as a visitor once in a while and reassure ourselves of our spirituality or God's presence, but it's not going to be a truly lived life.
But you see, I
Yes.
ignore. It's like I just ignore that, and it's much better. And of course, it's just the insight is the more important. But there are cases like yesterday that is just it's just so strong, and when you're broken so many times from this experience, I have this feeling that I have the experience of feeling God, being with God, and then the next moment I'm going to be in hell. And I got this shock over and over. So now when
I want to tell you one yes, but
I'm there.
I hear
It's
you.
coming.
I hear you. I just want to give you one also, and maybe we've had this conversation before, where so you're right. You can live in God's light. Everything seems to be fine. All is okay. So you may live in God's light. You may feel like, wow, this is heaven. The sages were right when they said heaven and hell are both here. It's how we live. When you do that, and then something, and that is the nature of this lila. Something will come. Which is okay, I am not real, is it? Okay, handle this. It comes, and then so these events can come, things can come, and of course, what really pulls us out into all of this is the belief in the mind. But the strongest aspect of that belief is if we make a coherent story and a pattern out of it. You see? So it says, oh, but it always happens like this. Over and over it keeps happening. We don't even know whether we've been alive for a minute or how many years we've lived. And yet the mind offers us these things, memory offers us these things. And when we say this is the pattern of my life, then that belief system seems to solidify even more. Can you tell me whether this is a dream or waking? Right now, could we be having this conversation in a dream? Yes, no? So, when a dream starts, I don't know if you remember these things, but I notice these things. When a dream starts and somebody says, it could have just started, and somebody says, where are you coming from? I say, I'm coming from my house. How long have you been walking? Maybe 15 minutes. The dream just started. Nobody, I've never responded in my dream saying, so, give me some time, my dream had just started. Has any of you done that? So we have memory, we have the mind, we remember relationships, we remember families there, we remember the names of places, everything seems like this. So what makes that narrative untrue and this narrative true? We can't determine the nature of things in this way. Just because memory shows it, just because the mind says this keeps happening to you, we can't keep getting bullied by that. We have to take a strong stand for God in our heart. And still it will catch you. I'm not expecting that it won't. But you're judging yourself much more harshly than I am.
Why?
I am telling you it will catch you.
I got so upset yesterday.
Yeah.
So upset because when I look forward of coming here and I feel joy. And then something like this happens.
Always.
And this is then tinted. This is then I don't feel joy coming here.
This is your mind, no? This is the mind. It just says, oh, now this is tinted. This is like Rocky Balboa's knockout punch, no? Spoil the main thing which is of value to you by saying, oh, see, this got tinted now. So we've had a few retreats, and Guruji also shared with me that before there is a silent retreat, you see, and everybody looking forward to coming, and the ones who are most looking forward to coming, something happens. You see, We were so looking forward to going one time to Tiruvannamalai to be in a retreat with Guruji. And just the day we were going to travel in the evening, my son fell and broke his wrist in school on that day. So we are calling Guruji saying, what is it? This has happened. He's saying, just come. This is the 20th call I'm getting today, saying something has happened. My answer is just come. So this is the nature of Maya. It's not going to lie down and say, come. You see? Leave me. I'm just going to. It's a jealous lover. It is going to grab you and going to say, no, no, you're mine. You can't leave me for God.
I'm so used to it, and I know these tricks.
You know these tricks.
It's just
But to know them
it's
means now you must
ridiculous.
stop falling for
This,
them.
yes,
You see,
it
to
is
recognize
so.
the con artist is to not give him money again.
Yeah, exactly. It's so ridiculous. I
Yes.
told you it's ridiculous, but I am
But
so
remember that
deeply affected.
Kabir said that Maya is a Mahathagini. You see, Maya is the great con artist. It is the greatest con artist. So, the greatest con artist means that you recognize that's the con artist. You see, you determine you'll never give her money again. You see, but she's so tricky. She'll come in any form. You see? That don't go to satsang today. She may come in the form of a poor beggar. Please don't go to satsang today. You see, she is the biggest con artist. Kabir said, even in the devotion of the devotee, she can hide. In the Kamal under Vishnu, she can hide. This Maya, we have to not take her lightly. Okay, about this? Okay. Because there's a bit of a queue forming.
About this, even
This is this a way to bypass the queue now?
I think it's I just wanted to the very such a powerful example you gave about could this be a dream? So in the dream, all objects are our dream.
Yes.
So
And this?
my dream body is that, and everyone is the dream. Like, and we can accept this easily.
Exactly.
That if I met 5 people in my dream,
Exactly.
when I woke up, none of them existed. They were all the virtual reality of my dream.
Yeah.
So I guess what you're pointing us to is, this isn't like Maya attached to this body. Maya is everything that you're perceiving through the senses.
Of course.
So every circumstance feels painful if you attach yourself to the the so-called observer for duality, but it's all part of the same Maya.
Absolutely.
So that's, I mean, this is actually something. It's like it actually does blow your mind, like everything, all the space is our own mind.
Yes. Even because we've had these dreams since we were very young, we don't marvel at them as much as we should. Because what are we actually saying? We're saying, I went to sleep. And in the sleep, we say that the mind creates all of this realm with oceans and mountains and pain and pleasure and people and circumstances and events and even strange things that we don't see in the waking state. And we say, it was a dream. That's the problem with labels. No? Just like nature. We just say dream, I got it, it's a dream. But what is it actually? What is that power within us which has the possibility to project so much immensity and even then can create a dream character in the middle of it, which I call me? And I don't find it absurd till I wake up or I recognize that I'm dreaming. So, in a way, coming to satsang is to recognize, to wake out of the waking state. To notice that reality is not here. And I was calling this the periscope, no, last time. Your heart knowledge is the periscope which takes you to your higher reality. You want to ask more? I'll give it back. I thought. Right.
Father, please advise or correct this one. So, what I see in myself is when I'm in a mental state or in sort of Maya mode,
Maya
then
mode. Yes, I like that.
then the first thing of recognition that it is Maya mode is a thought, is it? that I am in a Maya, right?
No, it could, most likely the thought is not going to interrupt your Maya mode. You see, it is put a do not disturb sign over there, or it is saying, it's probably saying, feed you more. Like, what about this? You also have this to solve. Okay, now that I have your attention, what about this thing? What about world peace? What about, so much is given to you to resolve. So it is not going to, most likely it is not going to remind you. Usually what happens is that we suffer and we start looking, for those at least with some experience, start looking at other places other than the mind, and something comes from the heart saying, wake up, wake up.
Father, my experience is correct, guide me on that, is like, I can see that I am not with being, but still I recognize that all this is my mind going on. And even that thought of potential of being with being is also peaceful. So like it's mind, then you get a mental state of, okay, you can be, okay, this is all mine, forget it, it's fine.
The mind is saying it's all mine.
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
And still I'm not with being, because
Yes.
being is totally different quality. It's
Yes.
like no words inside, but that also gives me peace, and then I stay there and then again go back to. So it's all between mind only. It's not even going back to retreat there.
So stop it.
So Father,
that's what I'm saying.
That's another level. Yeah.
Because you're saying that I know both my houses. I know the other house is better, but somewhere something tempts me to keep living in the first one. And you realize that that one is the Mahatagini, she is the con artist.
It can play, Father, in all directions.
Of course it will. I'm saying it will.
So, yeah.
You see, what the problem I feel all of you have is the notion of perfection. That it should not happen again. I am telling you it will happen again. That's why I said we will commit, we will fail, we will commit again, we will fail. But in the time that you commit and you haven't failed, that is the most beautiful. And even to fail and return is the most beautiful. Huh? It is a battle. It's the Mahabharata. No? It is literally like the Mahabharata you can read in so many different levels, but the subtlest level is this battle. It is describing this battle. That is the human condition. So to expect it not to be a battle when it is, okay, maybe.
So the idea of end of the battle.
No, that is causing more problem in the battle. That is one of the arrows which hits you in the battle.
This kind of I'm understanding in this period.
Name one who came to the end of the battle, who just came to the heart, who came to God's presence and never went to the head.
Okay, so from my experience, what happened to me years ago.
Yes.
When I had that experience, I also had complete understanding here is no suffering.
Yes.
I felt it,
Yes.
and I cannot even now deny it.
Yes.
So it must be true.
Yes.
There
No.
is no suffering.
Your dream could have just started.
But that is what was the
I know this, and we've spoken about this. You must forget about it.
And then I lived like that. And then it
Must
was like
forget about
even worse.
Forget about it.
So
It is not helping you, and we've had this conversation for years now. You must forget about it.
so
This is the danger of spiritual experiences.
It's better I accept the better.
Yes. You see? To be in a battle for time with the mind and to say there's no battle is not true.
Then it was kind of true. Now, no.
There is no then, forget about it.
Okay.
This is the danger of spiritual experiences, especially strong ones. If you have awakening experiences, you see there's no me, no mind. Everything is quiet, you're just sitting. There's light everywhere, just beautiful.
And then battle.
And then nothing is working, mind is powerless. Maybe months go by. Then something comes. This is real. This is true. I have to be right about this. I have to know something here. And we're back into me mode, like he said. Mind mode. What is Maya mode? So we're back there. This is the nature of everyone. Even the greatest sages on these walls have had these experiences. And then the mind says, see, you lost it. The con artist itself will say, you got conned. Such a fool you are. And says, you must want that again. So who's winning? It keeps winning.
Have some spine, fight like Arjuna.
Where did Arjun fight well? After so much. And also the thing with Arjun is that although he fought after that, after hearing so much, he was not free even after hearing all this. So he may not be the best example today.
So, yeah, for example, I'm now in this kind of Vedantic thing. I don't even, I honestly, I don't know. I spent years.
So if you're in the Vedantic thing, what is the realm of perception?
I
Nothing.
don't even understand it anymore. It doesn't mean
Then you're not in the Vedantic.
No,
Oh.
it doesn't mean anything anymore. It just became some
Yeah,
weird
but then
words.
make sure everything doesn't mean anything anymore, including past. You can't selectively selectively remove meaning from things. If you're going to be empty, then remove meaning from all things, especially past. What is yesterday?
Because
What happened?
in this Ramana teaching, there is not a battle. It's
Ramayana also big battle.
It's not
Mahabharata also big battle. I think they're trying to tell us something. In both stories, and they're the main stories of the country, historical stories, where the protagonist is who? God's light. And the nemesis is who? The ego, mind. They may be trying to tell us something. It does feel like a battle. When the mind tempts us, it's got its claws out, saying, calm, 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 calm. It does feel like a battle. Stay still. And when we find ourselves that we're already trapped, then to return home seems like a battle. Yes. Sorry, he's been raising his hand. He's like, ऐसे काम नहीं बनने वाला. I know he doesn't know a word of Hindi. You recognize that it's not going to work like that. We just politely asked him. So I have to speak up now.
So we're talking about this, the con artist, and I want to tell you about the con artist that's playing over here. The way it says come, it says, and it buys time. It's constantly buying time.
Yeah.
Just do this one thing.
Yes, exactly.
Take care of this.
Yes, exactly.
And it's almost, my question would be, on this trip, I made a really strong intention to stand and not to fall for it, because it attacks the body and the mind, and the battle is very strong. My question, which you've answered in the past, but I'll ask it again, is will standing in presence in God's light take care of, like, can I trust to always be there and not have to take a personal position?
Always.
And it will take care of everything that needs to be taken care of.
Yes.
For God's practical.
More than we can ever understand. More than we can ever understand. Because why I'm saying that is because if we say, I leave it to you, and there's a smell of like, cheat code in that, saying, okay, I went to God, now make this happen. So then that would be a very convenient sort of spirituality. I want this to happen, I want my relationship like this, I want money like this, I want all of this like this. This is what most people are doing anyway. But we then say, okay, I'll leave it to God. But we keep one eye open. Is it happening? Are you doing a good job? You see, so we put ourselves in the master position and we've got God in servitude. So we should not do that. We should avoid that. Once we hand over to Him, that means that it's taken care of. We must never doubt that, but we must doubt our capacity to understand His ways. We have no capacity to understand what anything is for. Suppose I had a satsang, I was speaking, and all of you fell asleep. It was that boring. It was just absurd, academic, strange. Everybody went to sleep. Online also, everybody went to sleep. Here, gone to sleep. I'm just talking. You see? But the only thing I would continue to check is it coming from the Sadguru within? Is it coming from the heart? And if it is, then I am a servant to His will. So I have to trust that even if it's making all of you sleep, because I don't know what it is for. So maybe this recording goes somewhere and nobody watches it. Everybody secretly says Ananta's verse Satsang and never listens to it. And maybe we even label it somewhere and some file is there on Google Drive. And somebody like 10,000 years ago, later, comes across this strange folder. They don't know what Satsang is. They don't know what any of this is. And they hear this strange mind talking about these things. And that one comes to God's presence because hearing that satsang. So at what point can I determine the goodness or badness or whether it was the right thing to say or the wrong thing to say? I cannot hear. I just have to trust what flows from God. So in the same way, when we hand over to God, then we must leave our capacity to judge, especially to judge Him. Because what are we saying? We are going to judge whether the one that is keeping this universe alive, is all the light and everything that is here comes from Him. We in our intellect will be able to say, yes, I handed over and He did well. Or it was all taken care of according to what we think taken care of means. We don't have that capacity. And that is where faith is also to recognize that good means if it is coming from Him. You see? If it is coming from Him, it is good. That's it. Not what happened then, what was the outcome, how did my life turn out. You can't judge on that. If the heart is speaking, that's something which infuriates all of you and all of my children, all Sangha leaves. Then would I second guess and say, oh, what did you make me say today? No. This is to stand in God. It doesn't matter what outcomes play out, because we cannot judge them anyway. See what I'm saying? So hand over to God and leave any judgment behind as well. Full trust. I promise you, He is the King of this universe. If you hand over to Him and things are not taken care of, then there is no option 2 anyway. You see, what is option 2? First is option is hand over to Him and everything is fine. Option 2 is?
Struggle to
balance. Non-existent, no? But it's not. We started satsang by recognizing that the me doesn't exist. So that is the play of Maya. There is no option. So well, she told me, and she's been in satsang with me for a long time, maybe 9 years or something. She said, one day something was just irritating, frustrating her. So she said, I don't know whether I'm cut out for God, I'm cut out for this. I said, okay, I don't know. You don't know whether you're cut out for this. What is option 2? And at least most of you who've been with me for some time will realize that we may have our frustrations and irritations, but what is option 2? There is none. Option 2 is clearly false. It is clearly Maya. It is clearly, it is hell, it is death.
That's what makes it even more frustrating, because you know the other option. You're not going that.
Yes. But does that mean that just in our recognition of that, Maya runs out of tricks? No. She doesn't. Every day she has some new stuff. She has fresh material every day. She's not one of those stand-up artists who ran out of material years back. Every day something. You wake up in that wonder, no? What is going to happen? What is going to play?
Father, on that, I feel that the more time I spend with you, or at least this past few months, and it's even happening now, that like barriers to be able to hear you are coming so strongly, and that I don't remember that happening much. Yeah, the first few years.
That means we're getting somewhere. Huh? When would barriers come?
It's just happening. It's been happening a lot that I cannot hear you, or I get distracted. It's been happening at home, and I could see that it happened a few times here in the last week. And yeah, of course, the mind then brings conclusions about that.
The one punch is the distraction, and the two punch is the guilt from the same one. The same one who distracts you says, see, maybe
I don't know if it's guilt,
listening.
but it's similar to what the sister said about, I don't know if it is.
If I'm cut out for this. And option 2 is just come to some mental understanding of spirituality, just use some techniques and find some peace, but no God anywhere in sight. Like that? Worth it? Because God and truth are synonymous. Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram, all same. True beauty, the true recognition of God, and the highest truth, all the same. So at least for all of you who've been here for a while, been with me in some way for a while, I feel like at least you will not go back to 100% living a lie again. Okay, what is the trouble? Say again. What is happening?
It seems easier to get distracted.
Yes. Because when it's under attack, it is bound to play up more. If it is not under attack, then why would it play up more and distract you more?
I find myself in those moments, I don't know, thinking maybe I can make an effort, but I can't make an effort. So it's very frustrating.
Once you decide, or once you recognize you can't make an effort, then how can you be frustrated? I can't make an effort. I have to be empty. I can't try with my intuition. Like try to be more intuitive. Can you try to be more intuitive? You can't do it. It is effortless. So then how to be frustrated? Without effort, be frustrated. Don't try. I want to see some frustration. It's not happening, right? For all this we have to try. For God we have to stop trying. This is the absurdity of all of it. For the false we have to work hard. For the truth we have to just stop. So you have to commit to stop. So you stopped. You're empty. God's presence is shining in your heart. Just love is coming for everyone. You may have days like this, it may go on for months. Then, titting, something comes. The mind says, how dare they? And you're like, how dare they? In that one moment is gone. If you feel like you're the body mind again, and something may come, no, as a reminder, like he's saying, the mind itself may say, but what happened to God? No, all that can wait. I have to sort this out right now. You see, fix this. Right? So, because in that moment, it can feel so important to be right. And then, hopefully, by God's grace, life slaps you around a bit, and then you realize it's not so important to be right. Return. Yeah? So that simple statement, no? Do you want to be happy or right? All these sound like such like head to heart, happy or right. They seem such simplistic, stupid, jingoistic type thing. But there's great depth in all of that. Yeah.
You don't even know that I am trying to be right.
Exactly.
Just playing it so well.
It seems like the thing to do at the moment. Yeah. This is the battle.
Yeah, mind looks for solutions constantly.
There are no solutions there. The one who can look for solutions can only grasp concepts. You see, the mind can ask big questions. What is the nature of reality? What is my purpose in life? What is God? All of that. In return, what can it take? Just some words. It will take some concept and store it in the memory. No value to any of that, except if those words then become pointers leading you to true insight.
You say the one that's looking for solutions can only get concepts.
Yes. We used to say earlier that today's conclusions are tomorrow's confusions. So you may feel like, I got it, this is how it is, this is how it is, build a framework. Then life job is to shake it and to break it. And soon it's broken, and then we return to confusion. But you said like that, but I see like this, then say like that, super glue it back together. Then after some time again shaky. Like, is this how it is, and is that how it is? And the master says, this is how it is, and this is how it is. Ah, that is how it is. And then life shows you it's not how it is. Because life is not boxable like that. You cannot templatize it, you cannot conceptualize it and say this is how it is. So sometimes the master says, go right, sometimes go left, which is the truth based on where you are. If the truth was always go right, then we could have just codified it and said this is how it is. But it's not a conceptual way, it is just a way of the heart. Sometimes like this, sometimes like that. What's the trouble without thinking, Georgie?
No trouble.
But
No trouble.
What is unresolved?
Yeah, only if I go back to my.
And what is most attractive in the mind?
I guess right now it was about solutions.
God. God is the solution. No matter what the ailment, God is the one solution. I told you about this. We were in Rishikesh, no? And there comes a seller of these medicines, but he basically has one red pill. So basically, whatever ailment you have, he gives you that for 50 rupees or something. He gives you the red pill, and have this, you'll be fine. So I am like that, one trick pony. God, 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 God.
Yeah, but you
all
find
the-
us where we are.
Huh?
You find us where we get lost.
Yeah, so I just try to use words which all are God, 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 but hoping that you will hear them and find your way to Him.
So my question is about work. Right?
Work, yes.
I spend most of my life working,
Work.
and work makes me live in my mind.
Yeah.
Right, and every morning I try to sort of find that deep being within. So feels like the con artist is conning me every day.
Yes.
And one way to break away from the con artist is it to just stop working then?
No, no, no. Well, could be, but we have to let His will guide even that. So, for many of us in our life situations and how it is playing out, it seems that work is a part of that life situation at the moment, including this one. So, have you tried to remain in the no mind even at work? Because something is making an equivalence between having to work and therefore being in the mind. So, is your work, what kind of work? Is it very analytical or what is the?
Yeah, it's quite analytical, and you keep building frameworks
I see.
to explain what you're seeing.
I see.
And so you're living in the mind and going deeper and deeper into that ditch
Yes.
of living in the mind. You're not really feeling and living in the heart.
So, I'm going to suggest one experiment to you. Do you have like a boss at work, or are you the boss?
I am unfortunately the boss.
You are the boss. So that's good. So it's easier to do this experiment. So I want you to just, like already so beautiful, you said you try to be empty and in your heart, in God's presence early in the morning. And then as you go to work, then you switch over to the mind in some way. So try one day where you don't switch over and see what happens. See if all those frameworks fall apart or what happens. So I don't want to spoil it for you by presuming what is going to happen, but since you are the boss at work, at least one day you can risk and say, okay, today I'm just going to remain like that, and if no work happens, if clients are upset, whatever, it's okay, whatever, I'm risking it for one day. So just remain empty at work, see if words stop, you become vegetative, what happens. And I'm happy to hear from you on whichever medium, WhatsApp or whatever you can tell me that I tried doing this. I started the day with God, I started the day in my heart, and I made a strong intention, a strong determination not to leave. And most of my day I spent like that. Although there were some moments where I got caught up in something, some meeting happened, somebody called, so I went back to the mind. But I kept returning to the heart, and just let's see how it unfolds. Right. Thank you. even in spirituality, even in satsang, we employ some constructs, some frameworks. Okay? But do we have to refer to our mind for that? Or can it flow from the heart itself? I would go as far as to say that all of you come, and whether you recognize it or not, the reason why you come is to meet someone who is allowing himself to be an instrument of his heart. And if these words can be spoken, if this kind of work can happen, then what is it that we cannot trust God to do? Having said that, you must remember what we were talking, the both of us earlier, where you must remove the judge also to say, oh, this worked out well, or this didn't work out well. Just one day, whatever happens, just let it unfold. And then at the end of the day, if you have a report like, okay, it was fine, or it was not fine, that's okay. Let's try. It's not bad. It's not bad. They've mostly been able to hear what I'm saying. It's rare for the first time, Satsang. Yes, yes. There's the mic.
Father, I've been coming for quite a few years now, and I would say been quite earnest about the whole process.
Yeah.
I would say, it's really starting to feel like sort of a way like, like we're actually in a kind of metaverse. Yeah. It feels like, the sensations of the body, you feel like they're placed there. Yeah. And sometimes they're there, sometimes they, disappear. Like with sort of, for example, in meditation sessions or just on waking up, basically between the dream. So then, honestly, the only thing I have to say is, the ability to ascribe truth value and be motivated by identity, it actually fades really quickly. Yeah. I mean, I was just reflecting on your, beautiful question about how to do at work. Sometimes I'm like, you're like, what's work? I mean, honestly, it's really like,
what is do?
What is
what?
I mean, yeah, I mean, or do you do honestly sometimes if you're feeling like, you're in space and, your body is appearing in you, and you sort of know that even it appears and disappears, then I'm just, just to work your point about, you can let things flow, but sometimes you just, you want to erase it all. And then when I do read, forgot this habit of reading Who Am I every day. It's a short book. And one thing that hit me very, very hard was Bhagwan's, he says that...
I wanted to make a joke.
Yeah, please.
Reading Who Am I, something hit me really hard, so I was going to say who.
Who, no, exactly. That's true. So, he says you can't, when the self is shining, the world will not appear and whatever. I mean, he says you can't take them both to be, which is the same thing you say. You can't even give truth value to the substratum and the appearance at the same time, So I mean, I just would love to hear your guidance, because if our ultimate true nature is to, reject the world so that we shine, as the self,
Yes.
then should we actually, be trying to kind of, I mean, should we try to go with the flow, or should we actually reject it as unreal without taking a position? I just have to hear that.
So from what I'm saying, I don't see a distinction between the two, because you're not going to create a new category in the head saying unreal, unreal, unreal. Okay? And to be empty of those either categories of real and unreal, it's like what you would say going with the flow. But not how the world says go with the flow. Just flow with your emotions or something like that. What you're saying is really to live in the unborn, live in the no mind, and to operate from there. Some of you have known for many years, some of you are new here, but I know that each of you has a life which has a different texture, it has different conditions, and yet the universality of God's presence is independent of all those conditions. So none of you must ever believe that, oh, my circumstances are special or difficult, or I have some challenges which others don't have. Because the mind gives everyone its max attempt. It's not trying halfway with you and trying full way with you. But I know the nature of the mind is to tell you, but your situation is especially difficult. You have more challenges. That's why it is difficult for you to do this right now. It's not true. So with full-hearted feeling, with full-hearted intention, find God in your heart and don't leave Him. There's a kirtan which I'm not remembering the words. One is Tumse Ho Jori, of course, which is that I've attached myself to you and now I'm not leaving you for anything in the world. That's a beautiful one. There's another one also which I can't remember. Like whether you like it or not, you're stuck with me, God. No? You cannot shake me off. Yeah, that's one. There's one from Swami Ravidas ji himself. Both are from him. It's like something like a fish, and I don't know. He uses various metaphors. But just hang on to him, his feet, for dear life. Yeah, see, but that's what I'm trying to say, that don't feel like your thing is especially more challenging. That's just a trick from the mind. God is here or no? Yeah? How does it matter what happened in the past? If He was sitting in front of you, would you be thinking about what happened in your past? Stop it. Yeah, well, the mind has an ability to regularize, normalize everything. So who knows if Sri Krishna, the Lord himself, started coming to satsang, you see. And after a few days we may be like, but I have some meeting.
The paradox is because the pain of the hurt is also there. And then it's like, I don't want to be him anymore. I don't want to love anymore. But I cannot, because if I don't love, what is then? Nothing.
Don't take any position. Forget the meaning of everything. Love, not love.
Okay.
Can, can't. Free, not free. But, not but. Forget it. Doesn't mean you'll lose your vocabulary. It's just that they become so light and so suppose those like one child told me, no, I won't embarrass her by pointing at her. She said that father, and she was only 23 when she started coming to satsang. So she said, I just wanted to come to satsang and hear the satsang. Years later, she told me actually there was a very handsome boy that she used to come and want to see. So she wasn't hearing anything I was saying. She was just looking at that boy. So she used to come like that. So, but suppose that that is the situation, and then that boy continues to be there, but one day God himself came in the form that you want to see him the most. In an instant, that boy would be forgotten. So in the same way, what I'm pointing you all to is a real fact. A living being, the living being, him, he himself, the Lord of this universe, his presence is within yourself. He's here. Where is the time to think about anything else and resolve other things? And he's here in a form which is deeper than if he was appearing in a pratyaksh way to you. If he was sitting on a sofa in front of you or something like that. Your relationship with him right now is deeper than that, more intimate than that. Don't make him just an object. Don't wait for objective experiences. You're finding him in your heart. All of you are. So where's the time for other things? We were infatuated with a me, but now he's here. How can we still be infatuated with the me once the true beloved is in front of us? More intimate than in front of us. Only something must still be creating like a level of unreality about what I'm saying. You must be still saying, yeah, but not him. See? Because if you admitted that he, the one, is here, then where's the time to think about other things? You see, and what's the reason to? Suppose you meditated for 50 years and had great experiences, all of that. But one day God himself came to you. Would you still say, okay, but I meditated 50 years, what about that? What else do you want? He's here, no? But what about that? In my third chakra, there was a minor vibration on the 3rd of July. But God is here. So, I don't know if we can notice that level. It's not like a disbelief, but a lack of faith somewhere that creeps in. It tries to normalize everything that is being said in satsang and makes it like, Yeah, it's true, God is here, but then still. How is it possible to say, but then still? If God is here, is true. This is the nature of Maya. It inserts itself in even the highest insight. But that simple sounding, but then, invalidates everything before that. Where is the room for self-concern if he is here? God is here, but what about me? What about you? He is here. Is it? But will I be able to stay with him tomorrow? Who cares? He is here right now. This is the meaning of faith, to take your intuitive insight to be higher than any perceptual experience. And that is really important. If we keep bringing the narrative back to me, then where is the room for God? You will not be the first one to fit me and God in this narrow lane. None of you will be. The more you, whatever you nurture will become more and more what plays out. If you nurture me, then me will play out more. If you nurture God, then God's presence will be more and more palpable. And you cannot juggle both. If you make it God for me so that my life is like this, my life is better, that's not about God at all then. It is still about me. Change the central protagonist of your life from me to God. Make everything about Him, even especially when it feels difficult. It is your intention that counts. Your mind may say you made a complete mess of it. You said I'll be with God, but you were full of ego, but at least you started off on the right foot. Don't let your failures dishearten you. They're not failures as long as you carried the right intention in your heart. And to overcome Maya completely is not going to be child's play. You manage, then she will have a knockout punch somewhere. But stand back up. Come back to God. So although the insight is instant and absolute in that moment, in the flow called life, it is not like that. Because of the potency of Maya itself. That's why I say that no matter how high the sage, there is always the little bit of the me who remains. And that me must drown itself in bhakti, in devotion and servitude, in deep love for God. Yes, but how is that nurtured? Thought by thought, isn't it? So start with one thought right now. Says, but what happened? Am I really paying attention to? You see, that's the only way to do it. If there was some magic pill like the seller in Rishikesh, where you could remain open and empty forever, I would have given you that. But the antidote is just moment by moment, thought by thought. You will succeed, you will live in His presence, and there will be moments where you will fail. It's all right. You see? You cannot cure self-concern with more self-concern. That I am so deeply in self-concern. That's even more self-concern, isn't it? You can turn this. There's too much heat in the room already. Moment to moment, thought by thought, remain empty. Use every tool. I've given you now so many tools. You see? Hold on to your presence, hold on to your inquiry, hold on to your arrow prayer, hold on to the ADS prayer, hold on to any name of God, anything. There is so much that you can use to remain empty. But you must have, all of us must have honesty with ourselves. With ourselves, we must be honest. And if you realize that, okay, now without a tool, without a crutch, my mind keeps troubling me. So then we must not be arrogant and say, but I can just remain open and empty. Why do I need anything? Then say Ram, 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 Ram. We must leave all pride. And like a helpless child, we must approach Him. The way will appear to us. Suppose you feel like I can just be anchored in the presence. I don't need anything. And you try it for a few days and you notice that your mind keeps getting you. Then there's no harm to chant a few malas, do the ADS in the morning, stabilize yourself in His presence. It is not winning. You're not going to get a certificate for going straight to the unborn or something like that. I'm so special, I went straight. Where so many sages had to do so much sadhana. Anything that helps you be with Him, use it. Use your breath, use remembering Him, chant His name, do the prayer, meditate, sing devotional songs, do your whatever sadhana you want. Inquiry, invitation. So much is available to you. And that makes it more difficult. Because so much is available, it makes it more difficult. The Zen student would go to the monastery. There was no Google, no? That was the only option. So in all those villages, you would go to that one master who ran that monastery. So then he would give you a koan. So if he said you have to look at that wall and just ask yourself, what is this? Just that is your practice. I'm not giving you any other instruction till you can give me a good answer to what is this. That's it. Then it was difficult but easy also, no? Because you're not saying, oh, I'm not really liking this, what else can I do? You see, this kind of stuff. You have to trust there is no option. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Stay with that. So then we also keep switching this, that, this, that. But as long as that, if that switching is happening from your heart, but don't fool yourself about these things, then it's fine. Just commit to find him and to spend your entire life in his presence. Then the ways will all reveal themselves. I'm not letting you, any of you, leave this world without finding him. As long as you keep coming to Satsang, I can't force you to come. Okay, I feel we are good. Good for today.